Welcome back to episode 97 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. We are in the thick of, wow, I was about to say spring training. We are not in the thick of that. We are in the thick of postseason baseball. Um, we got full house today, regulars as usual, myself and Kyle. But before I, completely go in and talk about my team and stuff that we want to get into, Kyle, how are you doing today? Hope you're doing better than I am.
I'm doing good, man. I mean, we still have a half hour until first pitch for game two of the ALDS. So that mood might change very quickly. But as of now, I'm doing great. The other night, the Yankees gave me a heart attack. 5 lead changes. That's fucking crazy. Um, I'm going to ask you this before we actually dive deep into this because I see exactly where this is going. So has the postseason brought out the worst in you yet? Or is it still too early for that?
Yeah, I think it has. It has. Listen, I was already pushing the panic button when they were down 3-0 in game one. I'm like, damn it, you gotta be kidding me. We're doing this again. And I was just standing there at my work stand, just quiet, just not looking at anybody, just looking at the screen or just looking, at somewhere else, just kind of just trying to do whatever I can to not blow up in people's faces. And then that changed Saturday night. They came back and won. Otani almost made me literally cry, like on the spot, when he hit that 3-run home run. They won game one, almost blew it at the end there. And then game two, just the things that I was most worried about coming into this series, it all came on yesterday. So yeah, to answer your question, it has brought out the worst of me already. And unfortunately, I don't even think we're at like the apex of this yet because we still got 2 games to play in San Diego, and I don't even know how those are gonna go. I don't want to know, obviously, but we're not at the mountaintop yet of this. There's still another level of this that it can go to. How's that?
Understandable. I totally get it. I mean, last night was the reason why I brought up that question. Um, Obviously, you work at Dodger Stadium, so you got to see everything going on and how it all unfolded. I was watching from home, obviously, but yeah, it was crazy, man. And from an outsider's perspective, it was a good game. I thought,
Saturday was not Sunday.
I mean, I I said it. These Padres are hot, man. I mean, I still have the Dodgers taking the series, but these Padres are hot. Exciting baseball.
Yeah, and before we really jump into this, I was so fortunate on Saturday to see Shohei Ohtani's game time 3-run home run off of Dylan Cease. Um, I put it on my story, and I just mentioned to you right now that brought a small tear to my eye. It really did.
That's what
That
all
was
does.
like the first big Dodger postseason moment in like 2 years, or like holy shit, man! Like somebody hit a big home run at a big time spot. Dodgers, like I can't imagine or describe how crazy it was in there when that moment happened. Like it was one of those where like off the bat, like you knew it was gone. And if you go back and look at the replay, it was literally a line drive home run. Like it wasn't like a tape measure moonshot where it went 20 rows up the pavilion. It landed like in the first 2 rows, but he hit it so hard that as soon as he made contact, it was like, oh my god, this game is tied. And um, everybody went crazy. I was literally high fiving everybody in the section. I was like so happy. I was screaming and yelling at my coworkers, like yeah, like that. So it's like it was crazy. So I luckily most people were in their seats at that time, so I got to witness probably the greatest Dodger postseason moment of the last 3 seasons. So I'll take it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, watching from home, that shit was electric, man. It was such a cool moment to watch. It was, I mean, because Shohei's a Dodger now. We all know that. That's said and done. But this people tend to forget this is Shohei's first postseason in his
Right.
career. So for me as a baseball fan, watching him past 7 seasons, 8 seasons going on, um, It was cool, man. It was such a cool moment. Like, this has been something we've been dying for as baseball fans to try to get him into the postseason. That's the only reason why I ever wanted the Angels in the postseason. We could see Shohei Ohtani, and now that he's a Dodger, I mean, it was kind of a given that he was going to be in the postseason. But that was his first moment, man, and it was such a cool thing to watch. And from an outsider, I enjoyed it. I can only imagine what you were going through. Very cool moment. I thought it was amazing, man.
Yeah, and I guess we'll just continue the conversation here with this series, and then we'll make our way to the other stuff, to the other series. Um, Listen, you mentioned it. I knew no team, no Dodgers or Padres are not going to sweep each other. These are two good teams. They're not going to sweep. Um, Now I, it's weird. It's like, man, I wanted the Dodgers to get that second game yesterday so bad, but and don't let the score confuse you. I know the final score was 10-2, but going into the seventh inning, it was still a 4-run game. It was still a 4-1 game, and the Dodgers. Now, this is the thing that kills you is that they had their opportunities to tie the game or take the lead again. They had a big opportunity in the third inning, bases loaded, stadium's going nuts again because it's like, all right, maybe the Dodgers are going to do the same thing like Saturday night. They're going to come back and they're just going to rally here. And disappointing. I should have known when they couldn't cash in more than a run. And the one run they did get was on a sacrifice fly. It wasn't even a base hit. Should have known that, what, maybe this is just not our night. And Dodgers are going back to their old ways. And they hit into a lot of hard contact. And to be honest with you, you got to tip your cap. Padres made a bunch of great plays last night. Jerks and Profar, of course, we saw him robbing Mookie Betts of a home run, which we'll get into Mookie in a second. I'm very down on him right now. Um, Fernando Tatis Jr. literally took away a double away off of Freddie Freeman. And then it was routine, but it was still very hard hit. Luis Ariz made a catch at first base and ended the inning with a double play. Again, Will Smith, I don't know what you're doing, dude. Like, it's 1 out, it's less than 2 outs. You're supposed to freeze on contact. What does he do? Tommy Edmonds smokes it off the bat, and uh, Will Smith is like already ready to go to third and come home. It's like, can you see the ball get past you first before we start making a move? And then, sure enough, they hit into the double play. Um, they missed their opportunities yesterday, but I knew the Padres were going to play better. They didn't even play that bad in game one. It's just the Dodgers were able to rally, and the bullpen was able to shut them down after Yamamoto completely sucked in his first postseason game. Um, I'm trying my best here to not overreact because they did get punched in the mouth yesterday. No question about it. Like that's an ugly loss, and things that happened in the stands that was ugly too. Um, I said this on my Think Blue yesterday. It was just a bad night, ugly night. It was one of those games and one of those nights where, you know what, there's nothing good that came away from this. Just delete the footage, forget about it, and let's get ready for game three. It was literally one of those days. But listen, you mentioned it. San Diego's a good team. They're not going to go down and lose three straight. They're not going to do that. And I think, especially after game one, I think if you would have told San Diego, hey, I know you lost this kind of crazy game, you missed some chances, the Dodgers rallied, Dylan Cease completely didn't have it, and you gave up a big home run to Ohtani, but you're still going to win game two and you're going to go back home to Petco with this series tied in 2 games in your building. I think every San Diego fan would sign up for that right now. But um, just a disappointing night after I was such on a high Saturday night with that win. And then for them to just completely suck all the air out of the building and just give all the momentum back to San Diego. Just unfortunate, but there's another game tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much to tie this all together. Yeah, this is a very exciting series. I've loved what I've
Not
seen.
for me.
um, I've loved what I've seen so far, and I think we're only going to be in store for more great baseball. I mean, tomorrow we have Walker Buehler going up against Michael King, former friend. Um, I think this is an interesting game for the Dodgers, man. I really do. Um, Walker Buehler, I mean, you could get 7 out of him. You can get 6. You could also get 2. I mean, this is something that is kind of wishy washy, and I think the key to the game for the Dodgers tomorrow is going to be offense. This offense needs to come around some more. Otani's doing his thing, but I think the guys like Mookie, Freddie Freeman, and the rest of the supporting cast in there, Teoscar Hernandez, we saw what he did in the regular season. This is the offense that we need to see going forward, and we'll see. It's going to be interesting, but they also have Michael King going up against this Dodger lineup. Michael King has been fantastic all season long. He was a piece that I hated to get rid of. No matter if we got Juan Soto or not, he was still a piece that I hated to get rid of. I love what he does, and I love the kind of game that the kind of pitcher he is. He goes up there and he's not scared of anybody in that lineup. So we'll see. He's been phenomenal this postseason, and I expect nothing less tomorrow. It's going to be interesting, man. I think I still have the Dodgers coming out here in the NLDS, but we'll see. I think it's going to be a very interesting series when it's all said and done.
Um, Jesus, you know, I'm gonna mention him. I was very frustrated last night, especially in the eighth and ninth inning. Mookie Betts, I'm very down on him right now. This guy hasn't gotten a hit since Game 3 of the 2022 Division Series when we played the Padres. He has not. He has been hitless ever since. I don't know what the hell's going on with this guy. Just sucks right now. There's no way to put it. And I was so frustrated last night that I was ready to, and I tweeted in some of the Dodger beat reporters. I was saying, you want to send a message to this team. Now again, you got to remind I have to remind you. It was in the moment. I was kind of heated, not happy with the results I was seeing on the field. I was saying, you know what? If you're Dave Roberts and you want to send a message to this team Tuesday, why don't you give Mookie Betts the night off? Why don't you give him the night off? And let's put in Andy Pages, this rookie who he's had his up and down moments, but you know what? At least he's not afraid. At least he's gonna go up there and swing the bat, and he's gonna feel very confident of what he's swinging at. Like he's that type of player. Like he can easily run into one, and he can catch fire in an instant. Now, I don't think the Dodgers are gonna do that. Obviously not, especially now not knowing if even Freddie Freeman's gonna be ready to go tomorrow because he had to be taken out of Sunday's game with the same ankle injury that he hurt last week. But I think Mookie Betts needs to go down in this order. I think you need to flip flop Teoscar and Mookie. I think Teoscar needs to be in the 2 hole, and I think you have to put Mookie in cleanup because he's just not getting it done right now. I can't put him in the leadoff spot because you know what? Otani had a great season and he's been and he basically won you game 1. I'm not taking him out of the lineup. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. Or I'm not taking him out of the leadoff spot, I should say. But I think Mookie Betts needs to go down in this order until he can prove to me that he needs to come back up because he's not the reason why we lost yesterday, but he definitely didn't help. Didn't help at all. He hasn't helped at all the last 2 years. Hasn't done jack. So, he's got to get it together. And the thing that scares me too, it seems like the Padres figured out how to pitch to Shohei Ohtani. Keep every ball out of the top of the zone and make him golf one out. And just hope and pray that he takes his walks if you're gonna pitch around him. Because I don't think they fear Mookie Betts at all right now. Why would you? But and they have Tanner Scott, who in any situation can come in if Otani's up to bat, and he has his number. I think he's like 0 for 9 or something like that in their career. So I'm afraid that they finally figured out how to pitch to Shohei Ohtani. And if he's not going to produce, you have no chance. So I'm sorry, but I haven't seen anything from some of these other guys to prove me otherwise. Yeah. Before we get into this other series, Kyle, what were your thoughts on the fans? Or you said you had something about this series. I don't know if you said it already, but
No, I have not. This was going to be my closing statement. I don't know if you're on this board, on this train or not. Um, this is a rivalry. It's a damn good one. I'm sorry. It's gotten to that point where I think last night really sealed the deal for me. I was a little back and forth, but this is a rivalry that I am constantly going to be tuned into. Um, obviously division rivals, yeah, but this has taken that next step for me. These two teams, it really has, and I think it got to the fans last night too.
yeah,
We saw that. That's not something you like to see. I feel that Dodger fans are better than that. I feel you feel that way too. Um, these. It's just it boiled over last night, and I think the Padres doing their thing, and they got some talkers over there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They got Tatis, Machado. Jackson Merrill has come out of nowhere and is really blossomed into a very, very good baseball player. Um, yeah, this is going to be a very this is one of those matchups that you're going to circle your calendar for. Um, I'm going to enjoy watching these two teams battle it out for the rest of the postseason and then for the future, too. They're not going anywhere. They're division rivals, and I feel like this rivalry has really taken that next step. I don't like what I saw out of the fans last night. Dodger fans, you're better than that. Don't stoop to that level, and go from there.
yeah. Listen, I agree with you. Um, Fans should not do that. There's a certain line that's placed every time you go to the ballpark between fans and players. Don't throw stuff on the field. That's not good. Be better than that. Um, but I also have to say too, it's like you know to Profar and Tatis. And listen, I understand that they hear a lot of shit in the outfield. I understand that. Probably stuff that's not worth repeating um, to people, but a part of me is like, you got to do a better job of keeping your emotions in check too. Like, if you're gonna, like what Profar did yesterday, he robbed the home run, and then he was kind of taunting the fans a little bit, and so was Tatis. Well, if you're gonna do that, that's fine, but don't get mad when fans, you know, do something back. Now, listen, I'm not advocating for that. I want to make that very clear. I don't. What a couple Dodger fans did last night was not cool. Was unacceptable. And the thing that pisses me off the most about that is that we get a bad rap for that, because now everybody thinks that every Dodger fan is like that. And again, that was circling all the social media yesterday. All because of a couple fans threw trash on the field. Now that puts us at a label like, whoa, every Dodger fan must be like that. They must get into fights with other fans and they must throw stuff every game. It's like, we're not all like that, dude. And to be honest with you, it's kind of ignorant that some people feel like that. But again, it's there's good and bad. Every team has good and bad fans.
Yeah.
But you know, if you can't take it, then don't dish it out. You know, because unfortunately, we saw it yesterday. These fans are ballsy, and they don't care. They don't care what happens to them. You know, but listen, I know it's hard. These players they probably hear a lot of stuff in the outfield, especially in the outfield. But they got to do a little bit better. I'm not saying don't show emotion or anything like that. You can do that, but you got to try and keep your emotions in check, especially with the fans. That's just how I feel. I'm not, like I said, I'm not. What the Dodgers did, what a couple Dodger fans did yesterday was unacceptable, and I don't like it, and it makes us look bad. But I really do think that we're all everybody's kind of to blame for this a little bit. But again, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, I totally get that. Makes total sense.
Um, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough of this series. Um, Today was my day off to not think about it. I know we got to record and do stuff, but we'll get ready for Game 3 tomorrow. I mean, listen, Dave Roberts said no team is going to have more fight than us. That was said during the champagne celebration last Thursday. Well, now you got a chance to show it. Now I got to see it. And tomorrow's your perfect shot. You got punched in the mouth on Tuesday at home. Um, you want to send a message to the team? Score first, and give Walker Buehler a chance. But um, at the end of the day, I do think there'll be a game 5. I hope, but we'll see. You never know. I was wrong 2 years ago, so we'll see. Um, moving along to the next series, Mets Phillies. Yesterday was fantastic. Um, because the game was on FS1 yesterday, on my little screen by my work, um, before the Dodger Stadium started doing their pregame stuff in the stadium, they had the game on from the time that I got there. I got there like an hour before the game started, and I was able to watch it in full until about maybe the 6th inning, and then they took it off the screen. I had to watch it on my phone, but series has been fantastic, man, and I really thought that the Phillies season was over 24 hours ago because they were down 3-0. Offense looked lifeless. They were getting shut down by Luis Severino. And then they were able to figure out a way to tie the game. And yes, they blew like 2 leads twice. No, they blew 2 leads twice after that, but they were able to find a way to win the game at the bottom of the 9th inning. And they evened the series going back to Citi Field tomorrow night. Kyle, just what have been your takeaways from this series so far?
Yeah, so far this Mets team is no joke, man. They're
Yep.
really not. We laughed at them preseason. You and I got laughed at. This is a team that has fight, and they have a personality in that clubhouse, and they know who they are. Um, Although the series is tied, going back to Queens, um, I don't think you could have asked for a better position to be in than the Mets. I understand you should have won yesterday's game. I don't think going into. I mean, going into that 9th inning, there was no reason for the Mets not to take it to the top of the 10th and then go from there. Um, it sucks how it ended for the Mets, but you got to be happy with where you're at. Stealing one game in Philly in front of that crowd, I think that's huge in itself. Um, Francisco Lindor looks good, but I'm going to tell you who is really making a name for himself, and I'm really enjoying watching every bit of his postseason career so far, and that's Mark Vientos. This kid is ridiculous. He is kind of picking up everything that the Mets need right now. If it wasn't for Vientos, I don't feel like the Mets would be in this position right now. Obviously, you can make that case for a lot of these guys on this Mets team. It's a lot of scrappy guys who are just putting hits together and making the damn thing work. That's what this Mets team is made of. A lot of contact guys with a few guys who hit for power. And then you got a superstar or two lined up in there as well. This Mets team looks good, man. I obviously picked them to win this series. I'm not going back on that. It's going back to Queens right now. But I do feel like the Mets need to win this next game. They cannot afford to go down against Philly. I feel like Philly is way too good for that to happen. Yeah, I mean, I love what I've seen out of the Mets so far. David Peterson, although he blew the game yesterday, he looks pretty damn good from what I have seen so far. Severino, absolutely love him, such a guy. But he gave the Mets what they needed. This Mets team looks good, and I like what I've seen so far. The one thing I will say, it's not time to hit the panic button for Philly, but damn, does this offense needs to wake up a little bit. I don't like what I've seen out of them. Schwarber does his thing. He had a leadoff homer yesterday, obviously, but the rest of this lineup, I feel like they just need to hit a little bit more. Because if they do advance from the NLDS, they're either going to face the Padres or the Dodgers, and that's not those two teams. You cannot afford to not hit. You have to find out. Like, you got to find your groove here, and you just got to run with it. Yeah, that's pretty much the bread and butter for this Phillies team. That offense needs to come around a little bit more for me to believe in them. But this Mets team, man, That's my biggest takeaway. This Mets team looks good, and I'm shocked, to be honest. I knew they had it in them, but I didn't think they had it like this. Um, Very good team. I love what I see out of them, and I expect big things out of them tomorrow.
Yeah. Um, just my quick kind of 2 cents. This Philly bullpen needs to figure it out quickly because
Yeah,
they almost blew 2 games in a row there. Um, this series. Um, Matt Strom would be the biggest would be the guy getting booed in Philly if it wasn't for Nick Castellanos again yesterday hitting that walk off. Um, I man, I don't. I was very surprised. I mean, listen, I know this Philly offense is really good, but and this is part of they say Red October, Bedlam at the bank. That can also hurt you too, because when you get in a game like that where you're down 3-0 going into the sixth inning and you're getting booed off the field when you're going up to bat, I can't even imagine. Listen, you're already in a pressure situation trying to win these games against a Mets team that has nothing to lose, but then you add the crowd into it, and they're expecting to win. Like especially those fans in Philly. They've been one of, if not the best team in the sport, literally all season long, and their fans expect a deep playoff run here. You know, especially how the last 2 seasons ended, a World Series loss and an NLCS where you're up 3-2 and you blew 2 home games in a row. Um, these Philly fans expect a lot more, and it's bad enough when you're losing, but then you're losing at home, and then you got to hear it from the fans. So again, that was a very gutsy performance, gutsy win yesterday by the Phillies. Bryce Harper, you could just smell that he was going to hit that 2-run home run yesterday. He had been waiting. He got nothing to hit in game one. And he even mentioned it after the game, like he was very frustrated because the Mets were kind of pitching around him. And I think that's very smart.
yeah,
But and if he wasn't pitching around him, they were pitching around him, but Bryce Harper was getting impatient and he started chasing pitches. And then yesterday he had that big moonshot home run dead center field, almost went over the damn brick fence over there. Um, but good for Nick Castellanos. I'm happy
yeah.
for him. I must ask the question though: who died yesterday? What happened? What happened yesterday? Because Nick Castellanos hit a home run to tie it, and then he hit a walk off single to even the series. Um,
There had to be
it
something.
had to be something. Like he's had an up and down career, especially with the Phillies. 1 minute he looks like one of the best. He looks like a great hitter, and then the next moment, he can't swing at anything, and he's missing everything, and he looks out of sorts, and it gets to him. So for him to have a big game like that yesterday, good for Nick Castellanos. And boy, did the Phillies dodge a bullet. Because listen, I understand why you piss. Wow, Jesus. I understand why you pitch Christopher Sanchez in game two because you don't want him going to that hostile environment in Queens at Citi Field, and you save a guy like Aaron Nola who's used to those big environments, pitching in those big hostile environments. But man, had you gone 0-2 and you had lost this series, listen, there would have been other reasons why they probably would have lost, but I think people would have been pointing at, hey, why did you screw around here with your two best pitchers? Throw them in game one and two. But
Agreed.
they got away with it, and they still able to win the game, and now it's a best of three, just like the NL. I really think we're going to get 2 game 5s on Friday. I really believe that in this
I think
series, and that's going to be good. You know, these these four fan bases that are left in the National League, probably, well, really 3 out of the 4 most toxic fan bases you can probably have: Dodgers, Mets, and Phillies. Uh,
yeah. Padres are
been
getting
a
there.
Padres are getting there, yes, and I will say that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Some of these fans in our comment section and on Twitter, they're a little too cocky for my liking.
Yeah,
It's tied 1-1. Relax. Like the series is not over. So Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. They're a little too cocky right now. Their fans. You know what it is? They have it too easy right now. They need to get kicked in the nuts a little bit. So
Yeah,
maybe the Dodgers do that, but we'll see. But yeah, it's been a literal war on social media between these four fan bases, and it's only going to continue because you're going to have two teams go to the next round, and that's just going to be even heightened more to go to the World Series. So there's your
I,
little bow on the National League.
I
Um,
can agree more.
yeah, let's go over to the soft
All
pillow
right, all right.
American League.
Here
Yeah,
we go.
yeah. Well, you got three. Well, you got four very loyal fan bases. You got the Tigers, you got the Guardians, you got the Royals, and then you got the big bad Yankees that are set to play in about 10 minutes. I guess we'll do Guardians Tigers first, just because they just finished and we've
Yeah,
seen two games from them already. Um, Boy, did the Guardians needed to get off to a good start and win Game One.
yeah,
Because if you lost Game One, this series would have been over. And I
I agree.
said that going in, like, you have school ball waiting for you Game Two. You better win Game One, because you're not winning Game Two in
No,
all likelihood. And sure enough, that's what happened. The series is tied. Guardians look really good in Game One. Um, Won 7-0. Scored 5 runs in the first inning. And then the Tigers came back today with their best pitcher, and he looked great, and they won. Um, Again, I don't. This Tiger team is so fun to watch because they can mix and match with these pitchers and these um, changes, in the lineup and stuff and off the bench. That's a good win today, and it looked like that you were going to waste a great schoolball performance because it took them 9 full innings to get some runs, but they did, and now they're going home with a series split. And I think, again, if you're a Detroit fan, I think you would have taken that. You would have taken a split going back home. And I am so excited to see what that Detroit crowd is like these next couple nights, because they've been waiting a long time for this. So everything is good in Detroit right now. You got the Lions that are good. You got the Tigers. That's pretty good. But how close? Because Kyle, I know you're paying attention to this series a lot closely, because if you handle your business, you might be facing one of these two teams.
yeah, exactly. The biggest takeaway that I've seen out of this series thus far is this Tigers team is scrappy, man.
Yep.
They are. It's one of those teams. They remind me of Arizona last year.
Yeah.
Um, One of those teams that, like you said, can mix and match with kind of any pitcher in the league. And that scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I chose Cleveland. I'm sticking with it. I still think Cleveland has the better team. However, that doesn't mean shit in the postseason. We know
No.
that. Um, it all matters of who's hot and who's not. And you know, the hugest takeaway that I've had so far is this Tigers team has something to cheer for. A fan base that has been waiting years for something to cheer for. And to be honest with you, if you're a Detroit fan in general, you have been waiting for your four major sports teams to kind of pick it up. You know, they've been the laughing stock of pretty much every league for how long now? Um, now that the Tigers are good and they have this they have a vision, right? And this is something that we spoke on um, throughout the whole entire regular season. And I'm kind of dealing with it right now with our series against Kansas City. We'll get into that in a little bit. But these two clubs have a vision, right? And the one thing that I will plead the Detroit front office to do is not trade away Tarek Skubal, right? We knew that there was rumblings of it at the trade deadline, and a
I
little bit
wanted
before.
them.
Who doesn't? To be honest with you, I'm going to say I truly do believe he's the best pitcher in baseball. This guy has come on
Yeah.
each and every single one of his starts and has shoved. And he's usually a quiet guy, right? You don't hear him talk with the media too much. Today, oh damn, he showed so much emotion out there, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing in the world. Tarek Skubal, you deserve to show a little bit of emotion out here. Love to see it. He went in front of the Cleveland crowd and pitched, what was it, 7 innings of 3-hit ball, I think it was. This guy
Yeah,
is,
his final line was three. Yeah, 7 innings, 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, no
I mean,
walks.
you can't ask for anything else. This guy he's cookie cutter Cy Young. That's what you want. And this Detroit team, they're scrappy and they're doing their business. Going back to Detroit with a series split, I mean, couldn't ask for anything better if you're a Detroit fan, like you said. For Cleveland, you got to go out there and handle business like you've been all year. You won a division that you clearly took advantage of. Stick with that. I still think this is a very good Cleveland team. I'm not taking anything away from them. Stephen Kwan, Noel, both of them made some phenomenal catches out there. Or I'm sorry, Noel made the cutoff to second base, which was kind of crazy. I don't know how the hell he did it, but it was a beautiful thing. Yeah, I mean, I think this Cleveland team just needs to get back to business and do what they can do. We all know that.
Yeah, Kerry Carpenter, one of those kind of
How?
underrated players, and he's had a big postseason. And he hit
Yeah,
a big 3-run home run today to put on my head that ended up winning them the game. I like stuff like this because you get to see America seeing this Tiger team for the first time. If not, you're not familiar with this team.
yeah,
And you're seeing Schoolball, you're seeing Carpenter, you're seeing all these guys that are making impacts on baseball's biggest stage, and it's great. It seems like once in a while, not once in a while, it seems like every year, every other year, you have a team like this who sneaks in and they make some noise, and America gets to learn about these guys, and um, it's been fun, and we'll see if they keep it going or not. Like I mentioned, like you said, I still think Cleveland's gonna win this series, but man, they have all the pressure on them. They better figure out a way to win. Well, it's today, Monday. They better figure out a way to win Wednesday. Because if you go down 2-1, with another road game, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna go. But if you're Detroit, you got to be in a pretty. You got to like your chances. And even if you don't, even if you just split in a game, even if you split this series, you can have Schoolball in a potential Game 5 winner take all. And I don't care where the hell he's pitching right now. I'll take Tarek Schoolball in any environment. I'm
yeah.
taking him to win a ball game right now. So
And listen, as an outsider, kind of paying close attention to this series, make that happen, please.
yeah,
If Detroit moves on and you got to pitch Tarek Skubal Game 5, do it,
twice.
do it, please. Because then bring on the Tigers. Because I feel if we have a chance to not meet Tarek Skubal until maybe Game 3, Game 4 of the ALCS, hey, I'll sign up for that any day of the week. I think any opposing team would.
Yeah, this will be very interesting. See how this plays out. All right, now to your series. Yankees are set to start in about 3 minutes. About 3 minutes. Yeah, yeah. Now pretty much. The floor is yours. What'd you see out of Game 1?
Um, I was nervous, man. I was
I don't
very
blame you.
nervous. This was a game that we saw 5 lead changes. Not something you want to see. We had Garrett Cole on the mound in Game 1. He did not look good. I'm just
Would have never
gonna,
known.
yeah,
Looking at the score.
he didn't look good. And yeah, he was getting outs, but his strikeouts were not there, man. And you could just tell his release, everything going on, just wasn't Garrett Cole, and you could tell from the very first pitch of the game. And it had me worried, man. Immediately had me worried. Because this pitching staff, man, it's not something that I'm fully confident in. Yes, it'll get us through, but it's not. Oh yeah, our pitching staff's got it. It's not like recent years where I felt very confident about this pitching staff. Because I don't. Tonight we have Carlos Rodon on the mound. That's another one, man. It's like it's so wishy washy, and I don't know exactly how to feel. But looking at Game 1, the Yankees still took care of business. It was an ugly win, but hey, it's a win. And in the postseason, you're going to take it.
Yep.
You know, the thing that impressed me most was you were against Michael Walker, right? A veteran who has been on this kind of stage before. I'm not saying Michael Walker is a Cy Young type pitcher anymore, but he's still a veteran who has pitched in environments like this countless times. He knows what to expect. The Yankees came out and handled business. They drew a shit ton of walks, which was a beautiful thing. I believe there was 8 walks the entire game.
Yep.
One of them had the base. I think 1 or 2 of them had the bases loaded. And then another thing too, this team held Bobby Witt Jr. to an 0 for 5 game. First time since June 12th for the youngster. I mean, that's huge. You got to hold down the guys that you have to, and for the Royals, it's Bobby Witt. Now, kind of looking at the offensive side of things, this is where the Yankees' bread and butter is going to be. If that offense is not producing, they are not winning games. That's what it's going to come down to. 2 takes on that. Number 1, I love what we're getting out of the rest of the lineup outside of the big guys, right? So you got Gleyber Torres who hit that, yeah, you can call it Yankee Stadium special, whatever you want to call it. It's a home run. I don't care, all right? Let's get things going for the Yankees. And then Alex Verdugo, man. How about it? This is a guy who Yankee fans have been calling to get out of that left field spot for quite some time now. I love Alex Verdugo. I'm always gonna back him up no matter what. And he came through. And to be honest with you, he's the reason why we won that game. He's the reason why we're here with a 1-0 lead going into tonight's game. Second point to this offense, those big guys are not hitting, and that's not good. As much as I hate to admit it, Aaron Judge he's not proven himself in the postseason. Yeah, he hit 62, regular season. Yeah, he batted over 300, regular season. Yeah, he competed for 2 AL Triple Crowns in the regular season. To Yankee fans, that's not enough. You got to come through in the postseason when it matters the most, and he is not. He went 0 for 3 the other night. Not what you want. And I believe last year he went 1 for 16 in the postseason. And don't mean to overreact or anything, but I'm going to say one thing: if Aaron Judge is not hitting, this team is getting nowhere. I don't care if they make it to the World Series or not. That's where the road ends then. Because if Aaron Judge is not producing alongside Juan Soto and the rest of these bigger guys, yeah, it's not going to happen. We're not winning shit without Aaron Judge producing. It helps now that Juan Soto's here. He got a few base hits the other night, but it's not what you want to see at all. And this guy needs to start producing. He's the captain of the team for a reason, and produce when it matters the most. Bullpen looks okay. I was very pleased with Aaron Boone. I'm going to say it. He made all the right choices. Yes, I know. I was very pleased with Aaron Boone. He made all the right choices at the correct times. He brought in Luke Weaver for the save. He looked phenomenal, man. It was a beautiful thing. That was a big thing. A couple months ago, the sky was falling because we didn't have a closer going into October. Uh-oh. Well, here comes Luke Weaver, who's really blossomed into that role, and it's a beautiful thing to see. For the Royals, they're scrappy, man. They remind me of the Tigers. I kind of mentioned that a little bit ago. They're getting production out of, Salvi, the old guy, the vet.
Yeah.
He got thrown out, but I'm not going to put that on him. That was kind of third base coach. But MJ Melendez, Michael Garcia, they complement Bobby Witt in a very good way. And I like that. I feel like this team has and Yuli Gurriel, too. Where the hell did he come from? Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. 40 years old, still producing. But no, this Kansas City team has a very good mix of young talent and old veterans who mesh very well together. And I've seen that all game 1. Let's go, Rodon. First strikeout of the game. Love to see that.
Screaming and yelling at the whole damn crowd right away.
Hey, the one thing about Rodon, he needs to control those emotions tonight. That's all I got to say. Yeah. But I like what I've seen so far. Judge, you got to produce more, man. Kansas City, I feel if they can leave the Bronx with a series split, that's a win for them. Obviously, I would feel much better if we're going back to KC with a 2-0 lead. We have Clark Schmidt on the mound tomorrow. We don't know what we're going to get out of him. And Marcus Stroman was left off the roster. So don't entirely know how that would go. So I would feel a whole lot more comfortable if the Yankees take care of business tonight. But yeah, overall, I like what I've seen so far. And, just take care of business against the teams you're supposed to. I'm not going to take anything away from the final three teams in the AL. Kansas City, Cleveland, and Detroit, they've all earned their spots to be here. But I'm sorry, when it comes down to it, the Yankees are the better team than all three. And there is no excuses for them not to at least be in the World Series. No excuses. This is by far I hate to say this, but this is by far I'm going to put this in air quotes, the easiest path to the World Series that we've had in the Judge era. And you have to take advantage of that. Baltimore's out. Houston's out. Take care of the teams that you're supposed to. That's what it comes down to. And that's my thoughts on this series thus far.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there. I really got not much to say. You hit it right on the head. If the Yankees do what they're supposed to do, this should not be a long series. But
No.
we'll see how the rest of it goes. Like I said, baseball, weird stuff happens at this time of year. I think that's going to do it for episode 97.
I think so. And
Yeah.
let me leave you with this. Carlos Rodon just struck out the side in the top of the first. He came off absolutely ridiculous. He's got the crowd into it. Hey.
Oh.
Or we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, good start for the Yankees. We'll let Kyle go watch the rest of the game and not have to sit here and talk to me. We'll see you, I guess, next Monday. By then, we'll have our league championship series in full swing already. Hopefully, both.
Very depressed.
Yeah. Hopefully, not or both of us, or hopefully both of us will be very happy by Monday. We'll see, but that's gonna do it for episode 97. Continue. If you're a Dodger fan, or if you're just a baseball fan and want to hear me, bitch and moan about my team losing, or if they win, I do think Blue, after every Dodger postseason game, win or loss, I'm going to continue to do it after the conclusion of Game 3 tomorrow. It's nice that I'm at home. I don't have to, Jesus, it took me like almost 2 hours to get home. Not 2 hours, almost took me like an hour and a half to get home on Saturday and Sunday. So tomorrow night it's going to be nice. Or the next 2 nights, it's going to be all right. I'm home. I could just turn off my TV, get set up outside, and press record, and easy. But keep a lookout for that and all our content. Yeah, we're in the thick of the postseason here.
We are, and I'll also leave you with this as well. If one of your teams are left in this postseason, like Melo and I, I'll tell you one thing that's kind of helped me out a little bit in Game 1. I was munching on some smacking sunflower seeds, and if you'd like, use code ATD for $10 off your order. And I'll tell you one thing, it's helped me, and there's some great flavors. Come on, and if also too, let me throw this in here. If you've never used SeatGeek before, you can use code ATD for your very first purchase to go watch one of these lovely division series or maybe championship series. Hey, get you some money off, and you help us out a little bit too.
There you go. And if you have problem getting it done in the bed, no, I'm just kidding. Nugenics. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go.
Nugenics. No, I'm just kidding.
On that one, we're working on it.
We're working on that one. I need that. Not that I need it. I'm talking about for the other people. I don't have problems in the bedroom. Believe me, I don't.
Those Tiger fans got an old fan base, man. You can help
That's
them
what
out.
I'm saying. Yes, we can help you finish the job. We can get you across the finish line. Yes. Wow, that didn't sound right at all. All right. I think we're going to end this here. We'll see you in a week. Adios.